Welcome back to Virginia Reports. I am Ryan Gilchrist, and joining me tonight is Maryum Elnasseh. We're talking about admissions tests. Clearly, the coronavirus shutdown and the various issues we've had with being able to bring people into a group have put a real hitch in being able to take admissions tests. Maryum, what have you found out?
Yeah, so this time of year is typically very busy for admissions exams for students at every level, from high school to undergrad to even current grad students. But with everything that's going on right now, test centers have closed and students' admission exams have been canceled. So for students who had been planning on taking exams for grad schools right now, the GRE and GMAT transitioned to a remote take-home version of their exams and have done some changes to remove an essay portion, for example, to accommodate these new changes. For the LSAT, for students applying to law school, it has also moved online with a new LSAT Flex option, and they shortened the exam from 5 sections to 3 sections. But it hasn't been a smooth transition for students because the announcements have been a little bit last minute. For example, for students who are scheduled to take the April 25 test date, it wasn't announced until April 7 that it would be canceled. So it left students waiting until the last minute to see what would happen. And for the MCAT exam, for students applying to med school, they decided to cancel it completely through May 21st without an online option for students. And as for current grad students who had been waiting to take their licensing exams, those are typically done in testing centers such as the Prometric Center, which has closed until May 31st. However, at the beginning of this month, they decided to reopen on May 1st for essential clients such as the healthcare center. So that would be students currently in med school waiting to take their medical licensing exams. And so with all the closings and reschedulings, students' exams were automatically canceled, and they're still struggling to reschedule these exams. And one thing that has really added to the extra confusion is that decisions haven't been centralized at the state level. So for example, here in Virginia, there's 9 of these Prometric test centers, and the decision has been up to each test center to open at their own date instead of centralization across the state. So while some of these did open on May 1st, others didn't open until a couple of weeks later. And for those that are currently open, all test takers must wear masks, and they're adopting social distancing measures, which of course is really important, but it means there's fewer appointments available and a decreased capacity for students to sign up for new testing dates.
You mentioned high schoolers as well. I presume you mean the SAT and ACT.
Yes, exactly. The SATs for May and June have been canceled, and even students who were fortunate enough to take theirs in March still had some complications with receiving their test scores. And College Board announced that the exam will go digital if schools don't open in the fall. And the ACT exam was also canceled for April, but they're currently scheduled to go forward with the June 13 exam, but they'll announce next week in case they might cancel that.
How is this going to affect admissions overall?
So it differs from school to school. Dozens of colleges across the state, across the country have decided to go test optional for the SAT and ACT. Even medical schools around the country, some have announced that they will be accepting students without their MCAT scores. And an informal survey conducted in mid-March found that more than 60% of law schools who had responded to that survey were extending their deadlines or planning to. So of course the timeline has really shifted for a lot of students now that students will be taking their exams much later in the season. And typically students spend up to 3 to 6 months studying for these exams, and it's already a very competitive and rigorous process. So these last minute hurdles have added extra stress to what's already a stressful process for students. And as one VCU student told me, I know this definitely puts me at a disadvantage behind people who got to take their exams earlier because your application only gets reviewed once you have everything turned in. So students are now kind of left to pick up the broken pieces of what's left, and just waiting for different schools to see how flexible they're willing to be to accommodate these effects.
Obviously a complicated situation and one that a lot of people are concerned about. We'll keep an eye on that. Maryum, thank you. For those of you watching, thank you as well. We appreciate you, appreciate your time. If you've made it this far into the video, please consider giving us a like. Certainly subscribe to the channel. We have more coming very soon. For now, and on behalf of Maryum, thank you very much.